Word on the street is that King Harris and his baby mama allegedly tried to force entry into T.I.'s home. Yep, we're talking unannounced, unwanted, and uninvited. And now, folks are trying to piece together what went down, why it happened, and what it says about the state of this famous family. The situation is messy, emotional, and honestly, just sad when you think about the bigger picture. So sit tight, hit that like button, and let's dive into the full story. Let's start with the facts, or at least what's being reported across social media and industry insiders. It all allegedly went down late last week. King Harris, who's been in the headlines for everything from viral arguments to wild Instagram live rants, reportedly showed up to T.I. and Tiny's house with the mother of his child. They were not invited, and according to several sources, they were met at the gate by a staff member who informed them they couldn't enter the property. And let me make this clear, this wasn't just a pop-up to drop off diapers or say hi. Sources close to the family claim that King became agitated when he was told he couldn't come inside. The staff member, likely just following protocol, reportedly tried to de-escalate the situation, but things quickly went left. Witnesses say that King started pounding on the door, raising his voice, and telling the staff, "This is my parents' house. I don't need permission to be here." It was giving entitled, angry, and confused all at once. Now it's unclear whether T.I. and Tiny were home at the time. Some say they were out of town. Others say they were upstairs and just didn't want to engage. Either way, they didn't come to the door, and that might have made things worse. King allegedly kept demanding to be let in, claiming he had personal belongings to pick up and that he didn't appreciate being locked out of a home that he once considered his own. But it wasn't just King. His baby mama, whose name we're leaving out due to privacy, was also reportedly getting into it. Some say she was recording, others say she was yelling. Whatever the case, the energy was confrontational. Allegedly, she felt disrespected by how the Harris family had been treating King, not just as a son, but now as a father. She reportedly made a few comments about how they're leaving him out in the cold and not supporting him like real family should. So this wasn't just about entry into the house, it was about being shut out emotionally and financially. To really understand why this incident matters, you have to look at the bigger picture. King Harris isn't just some wild kid running around Atlanta with no home training. He's the son of two megastars, rapper and entrepreneur T.I. and singer/reality star Tiny Harris. He grew up on reality TV. We watched him go from a mischievous little boy on T.I. and Tiny, the family hustle, to a rebellious teenager trying to carve out his identity in the shadow of his parents' fame. But somewhere along the way, things changed. King has been involved in multiple controversies over the past few years, getting into fights, disrespecting adults on camera, going viral for outrageous live streams, and clashing with his parents publicly. The most memorable moment? That infamous argument with T.I. at a Falcons game. King tried to claim that he was raised in the trenches and that his life wasn't as privileged as people thought. T.I., visibly fed up, hit back with that now viral line. "You was raised in a gated community." That moment symbolized something much deeper: a son trying to assert his independence and masculinity, and a father trying to protect his legacy and reputation. T.I. wants his son to be disciplined, focused, and grounded. King wants to be respected, taken seriously, and treated like a man. That generational and ego clash has been simmering for a while, and it finally exploded in the form of this alleged home invasion attempt. Another layer to this story is the fact that King is now a father himself. Becoming a parent at a young age comes with a heavy emotional and financial burden, especially when your family is rich and famous, but you're trying to figure things out on your own. According to people close to the family, T.I. has started pulling back on financial support, trying to teach King a lesson in independence. He reportedly wants King to experience the real world, to work, to hustle, and to provide for his child without always leaning on the family fortune. But here's where things get tricky. King's baby mama allegedly feels that T.I. and Tiny aren't doing enough. In her eyes, King is trying, but he's also struggling. And instead of helping, the family has distanced themselves. That may explain why she showed up at the house too, pushing King to speak up and confront his parents face to face. Unfortunately, that confrontation turned hostile, and now the whole situation is public. This incident also brings up the issue of entitlement versus emotional abandonment. Is King entitled to show up and demand access to his parents' home? Or is he a hurt young man feeling neglected by the very people who raised him in luxury, but now seem unwilling to support him through his toughest chapter yet? You already know the internet has been lit with opinions. Some folks are roasting King, saying he's acting spoiled and out of line. One Twitter user said, King Harris trying to break into T.I.'s house is peak spoiled rich kid behavior. Bro, this ain't a BET movie. Another commenter added, you got a baby now. Be a man. Don't be out here throwing tantrums in your daddy's driveway. But not everyone's dragging him. Some people are sympathetic. They see a young father struggling to navigate life in the spotlight with a complicated family dynamic and a new set of responsibilities. One user posted, King is clearly hurt. T.I. always in everyone else's business, giving advice, but can't fix his own home. That boy needs therapy, not rejection. And honestly, both sides might be right. So where does T.I. stand in all of this? At the time of this video, neither T.I. nor Tiny has made an official public statement about the incident, but folks close to the couple say T.I. isn't surprised. He's reportedly frustrated, yes, but not shocked. One insider said, T.I. loves his son, but he's tired. He's tried talking, disciplining, supporting. Now he wants King to learn the hard way. Tiny, on the other hand, is allegedly heartbroken. She's always been the peacemaker in the family, and now, with a grandchild in the picture, she's torn. She wants King to grow up, but she also doesn't want her grandson growing up in dysfunction. According to sources, she's pushing for a sit-down conversation. A real family talk, no cameras, no social media, just raw healing. Whether that will happen, only time will tell. This whole situation is more than just a headline. It's a reflection of something real happening in so many households, famous or not. We've got young Black men struggling to transition from boyhood to manhood, sometimes without the emotional support or tools to process trauma, anger, and pride. We've got fathers trying to break generational curses, but still stumbling because they're carrying their own emotional baggage. And we've got mothers watching it all unfold, trying to protect both the child they raise and the grandchild they didn't expect so soon. It's easy to clown King online. It's easy to say, he's just a spoiled kid acting out. But when you peel back the layers, what you see is a young man who's hurting, misunderstood, and desperately trying to be seen as more than T.I.'s son. What he needs now isn't another viral moment or another argument. It's guidance, healing, and maturity. However, T.I., known for his street wisdom, sharp mind, and vocal opinions on everything from politics to parenting, has always tried to instill discipline and direction into his children. But King, now in his early 20s, is clearly on a path to forge his own identity. In recent years, we've seen him challenge authority more directly, get caught up in online beefs, and even have minor legal issues that made headlines. And while T.I. has mostly responded to his son's antics with calm public statements, those close to the family have hinted that behind the scenes, things haven't been quite as peaceful. In the weeks leading up to the alleged confrontation, fans noticed more and more tension playing out online. King had been posting stories and tweets hinting at being misunderstood, feeling isolated from his family, and wanting to be respected as a man, not just as T.I.'s son. There was also growing speculation that King had been cut off financially or was refusing help from the family, trying to prove he could stand on his own 2 feet. Meanwhile, T.I. had been on his own journey, stepping away from the spotlight a bit, focusing on his businesses, and even speaking more about his efforts to maintain peace and discipline in his household. In one interview, T.I. mentioned how difficult it is to raise children with wealth while still trying to instill the values that kept him grounded coming up from Bankhead, Atlanta. The struggle between street values and suburban reality is something T.I. has spoken on many times. But when those values clash in your own home, that's when things get real. And reportedly, things came to a head one night when King showed up at his father's home, uninvited and in a mood. Some insiders say he'd been drinking. Others say he'd been venting for days about not being let in on some family decisions. But either way, what happened next was reportedly a scene straight out of a movie. According to sources close to the family, and this part is still being pieced together, King arrived at T.I.'s gated residence late at night, reportedly banging on the front gate and demanding to be let in. At first, the house security reportedly tried to de-escalate the situation, but King wasn't backing down. T.I., alerted to the situation, came outside personally to speak to his son. That's when things reportedly turned from emotional to confrontational. Witnesses claim the two exchanged harsh words right there on the front steps. T.I., trying to keep things under control, allegedly stood in front of the door, refusing to let King enter until he calmed down. But King wasn't having it. He's a grown man now, at least in his mind, and felt like being blocked from his own father's home was an insult. It was during this heated moment that the confrontation turned physical. Eyewitnesses say King pushed past T.I., who responded by trying to hold him back. The two struggled for a moment, not in a full-on brawl, but enough for people nearby to step in and separate them. Security intervened, and a few family members who were inside reportedly rushed out to help calm things down. No punches were thrown, and thankfully, no one was hurt. But the damage was already done, not physically, but emotionally. A line had been crossed. Father and son, once so tight, had now clashed in a way that couldn't just be swept under the rug. And in typical 2025 fashion, it didn't take long before the news and the speculation hit social media. By the next morning, rumors were flying. Some said King had been arrested. Others said T.I. pressed charges. None of that was confirmed, and no official police report has surfaced. But what did happen was a social media firestorm. King posted a cryptic story saying, "A man gotta stand on his own," even when his own people push him down. Fans immediately connected the dots. T.I., for his part, took a more subtle approach, posting a quote about protecting your energy and not letting chaos in through the front door. Many interpreted that as a direct shot at King, and while T.I. didn't name names, the message was loud and clear. Boundaries had been crossed, and he wasn't about to let his peace be disturbed, even by family. The internet, of course, had a field day. Some fans sided with King, saying T.I. had always been too controlling. Others pointed out that King has had a history of acting out and that this might be a much-needed wake-up call. But perhaps the most heartbreaking reaction came from fans who remembered the sweet, funny, confident kid King used to be on Family Hustle and wondered how things had gone so far left. At the heart of this story isn't just a celebrity spat. It's a reflection of something much deeper. The generational divide between fathers and sons is real. And in the Black community especially, there's often a struggle between discipline and emotional expression. T.I. grew up in a very different world than the one King was born into. Where T.I. had to fight for survival, King was raised in comfort, but that doesn't mean he's had it easy. The pressure to live up to a legacy like T.I.'s can be crushing. And as much as King may want to do his own thing, the shadow of his father looms large. He wants respect. He wants space. But respect has to be earned, and space comes with responsibility. T.I., for all his flaws, has always tried to teach his children the value of humility, hard work, and focus. But it's one thing to preach those values. It's another to pass them on to a son who feels like he's already a man. And that's what makes this story so raw. It's not about fame. It's not about money. It's about two men, father and son, trying to understand each other from opposite ends of a generational bridge. And for one night, that bridge broke. So now I turn it over to y'all. What do you think about the situation? Was King Harris out of line for showing up uninvited and allegedly trying to force his way into his parents' house? Or is this just a cry for help from someone who feels abandoned by the very people who raised him? Do you think T.I. is right for enforcing boundaries? Or should he be more hands-on now that King has a child of his own? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Be respectful, be real, and let's keep the conversation going. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more stories, more insight, and more real talk coming your way. Until next time, take care of yourself and your people.